Jesse, ask me what we are going to talk about.
I mean, what's with all the Jell-O in the bathtub first? But what are we going to talk about?
Well, that's my lunch. We're going to talk about the Belcher Island Massacre. Have you heard of the Belcher Island Massacre?
No, it sounds like it's going to be really dark, though.
One of the weirdest crimes. It involves cults. It involves starvation. It involves isolation. It involves weirdly kind of just weird kind of actions by people who are in a really desperate situation.
Okay.
And it involves an island called Belcher Islands.
Belcher Islands. This is going to get really dark and depressing, isn't it?
It's kind of a weird one.
It's a weird one?
Very strange, but...
All right, I'm down. Let's do it. Sing the fucking song. Let's go. You going to sing along this time?
No.
Because you don't know the words.
Nobody does.
I certainly don't.
Super bland, cool, nuts, super light. A place that's excitement, kryptonite. You may fall asleep with no warning. Because Canada is boring, boring. Cause Canada is boring. Canada is boring. So boring. Canada is so fucking boring, boring. A real cool podcast with Reese and Jesse.
Hello and welcome to Canada is Boring. My name is Reese Waters and with me is Jesse, the spicy fajita Harley.
Ooh, there you go. Listening, ladies.
It's very spicy. You'll burn your tongue.
Yep. Here's some ASMR to cool you off.
You just sprayed bubbly all over the microphone.
Yeah, just the way you like it. You like getting sprayed like that? There you go.
I'm having a drink of water. Anyway.
There you go.
Thanks, Jesse. Can I just say thank you for the ASMR? Anyway, small talk dimension.
Your back is still in pain.
I'm feeling better.
You're still on painkillers?
It's on my back. Is my
Of course you're still on painkillers.
Well, you know, I don't need them, but I just want them now.
That's how it works.
Exactly.
Welcome to the world of addiction. Enjoy. The next 20 years are going to be hell.
Yeah, just mix them with a little martini is great.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Dad's got that look again. That ghostly look in his eyes. He thinks he's watching TV. It's been off for hours.
He's driving with his eyes closed again.
He could just sense the road.
Good. What is
I can barely hear myself, so I have to like practically eat the microphone.
I just wanted to announce that I did possibly one of the greatest dad achievements ever. You saw my Instagram story on my personal private
That was very
Instagram
cool.
feed.
Yeah.
I managed to we got a projector as a gift off my sister-in-law. It was very kind. Shout out to Fee.
Does it do up to like 4K or is it just 1080p?
I think it is 4K from the quality of it. It looked great. And then I got a projector screen off Amazon for like $100, 100-inch projector screen. And because the weather's nice, we went outside and in the backyard we watched Mighty Ducks. And then
That's what it was.
so we watched Mighty Ducks as like a movie night as a family outside with a projector.
That's so cool.
And then just as
like by the pool.
By the pool, and as the movie was finishing, fireflies started flying over the pool.
Oh, that's
Which was really cool. And then the stars were out too. It was really cool.
That's gorgeous.
I was like, this is the ultimate dad activity.
That's pretty. Yeah, I gotta
Outdoor
say,
cinema movie screening for the kids.
should have had a barbecue as well.
We did earlier in the day.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you can't top it. I did everything, Jesse. There's a wall.
Painkillers.
Painkillers. Exactly.
Reese is just sitting there staring at the movie. The movie's been off for hours.
Yeah. And then
The kids are back inside.
do you know what else I did? It was getting a little bit cold. So I I've got a milk frother coffee machine.
Of course you do.
And I frothed the milk.
Does this mean that you figured out your pool problem?
Oh yeah, I fixed the pool problem.
Yeah, of course.
It was a little too much alkali. Anyway,
that's what
so
it
I
was.
just added
There
some
you go.
acid. It was great.
That's great.
No, no.
Okay, look at you go.
There we go. So I frothed the milk, and like you would make a latte,
Yeah.
but instead of pouring like a shot of coffee in, I put JD Shaw, like the Bailey's stuff. So I had like
You frothed JD Shore?
no, I didn't. I frothed the milk and I added the JD Shore, so I had like a JD Shore latte.
Oh.
It was really good.
So that sounds really tasty.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's like a coffee liqueur.
You can't watch Mighty Ducks sober. That's,
Yeah, exactly. It was good. So it made me sleepy. It was good.
Don't mix alcohol and painkillers. Painkillers, kids.
No, exactly. Yeah.
That sounds cool, man.
It was good. Successful movie screening outside.
Yeah.
And then the weather was shit the next day, so we couldn't do it again. Couldn't watch Mighty Ducks 2 outside.
Was there automatic keystoning for the projector, or did you have to do it yourself?
Keystoning?
Yep. Keystoning, so like you point a projector at the wall and you can adjust the corners to match.
Oh, no, it's not.
Like if you put the projector on at an angle, it'll be like a...
No,
I had to...
I used a measuring tape, but I followed the instructions and just did the right distance and everything.
Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. Keys.
I didn't mind.
You could just go into the menu.
It was a dad project.
I
needed to use a measuring tape.
That's fair.
Anyway, what about you? Have you got any news, or do you want to learn about the Belcher Islands?
I don't know. I've been playing a video game, Stranded Deep. It's had like the worst. It's been on my list of things to play for years, and it just has like the worst ratings for years. I'm like, I don't want to. And I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. And it's so much fun. I've been missing out.
Why'd you have such bad reviews then?
Bugs. It had a lot of
they
bugs.
fixed them?
I guess so. I haven't really come across any.
No.
Right? So yeah,
Jesse wins.
Huzzah! That's my boring story of what I've been up to. I've been playing a fucking video game. There you go. Enjoy that, everybody.
So, have you ever to the Belcher Islands?
I have not.
They are an archipelago in the southeast part of the Hudson Bay.
The Belcher Islands.
Belcher
What's an
Islands.
archipelago?
An archipelago?
I can't believe I said that
It's
properly.
where you sing without music. An island chain.
Cool. All right.
Anyway.
Anybody live on them?
People live on them. Yeah, not many people, but people do live on them because they're spread out
I
over.
want to see what they look like.
They spread out over 3,000 kilometers. The Belcher
I'm
Islands.
gonna look at these.
So
on Google Maps.
very remote islands spread over a large area. As you can imagine, it's not the funnest place to be.
Belcher Islands. What a
You gotta zoom out.
unfortunate name.
I know.
They're huge. They're very large.
Large islands spread over 3,000 kilometers in Hudson Bay. Yeah. So apparently,
okay.
the earliest
And it's Nunavut claimed land.
yeah. So
Okay.
apparently, the archaeological evidence says that people have been there since.
Oh, it's very high. It's not that high north, actually.
No, but it's very isolated.
Right.
So it's people have been there since 500 BCE and 1000 CE. So
Holy shit.
they've been there for a long time.
All right. That's cool.
And even though the British have kind of explored, and then like the British Empire was there, and now is Canada, most of the island was totally untouched before the 20th century, apart from missionaries.
Okay. Mission. All right. Interesting.
Not the position, the religious people who.
I can't see. It just seems like there's not even that much.
There's no trees.
There's no trees.
It's very barren, very hard to survive.
People live here.
So 60 years ago,
I can't seem to find any images of houses or
well,
roads or
so
anything.
in 1941, when this happened, there were only 150 people living there,
Where?
but they were nomadic. They
Okay.
didn't actually have settlements at the time.
Okay.
So-
I just can't find. There must be. I want to find it.
No, so at the time they lived in igloos in the winter and they lived in sealskin tents in the summer.
When was this?
The 40s, the 1940s.
Okay. Interesting.
So highly skilled hunters and ocean kayakers, they traded furs for guns and ammunition and tobacco with the Hudson Bay Company, who established themselves there in the 1920s. So very untouched by Western civilization.
All right. That's kind of neat.
So
I still
they-
can't find any roads or any signs
No,
of
no,
civilization
it's
whatsoever.
kind of they kind of almost lived on. They kind of there's no islands. There's no trees. There's no trees on the island. Sorry, there was no caribou.
Right.
So a lot of the main sources of food were like seals or anything they could pull out of the ocean. Largely,
Okay. Do people live there today?
people do live there today.
I
Still.
can't find any evidence of this at all. I Google it
Well, just
whatsoever.
So that they would make parka jackets out of
Why would people live on these islands?
because they've always lived there.
I guess, but why would people choose to live there in the first place? It's just
Because they've
barren.
always lived. Because
People had to start living there at some point, right? Like choose to
I
live
know,
there.
but
So,
maybe-
like you go back in time, someone had to be the first person to go like, "This looks great. Let's settle down here. No trees, no animals, barren rock for miles. Like just great. Let's do it.
this is a nice spot.
yeah." Who decided this? Who's like?
I don't know.
So weird. Yeah,
I wasn't
guess-
there.
How would you? Yeah, right. Okay,
Well, I don't know.
that's
Maybe
fair.
you go there and people were like, but they might have been.
It was rhetorical.
maybe they were hiding from someone.
All right. I guess that'd be a good place to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll never look for us yet. And also, no one's ever going to come and take it off you.
Right. Because who the fuck would want it?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, so this is ours now forever. So, but apparently, what happened was
give it a weird name and off you go. Yeah.
So during World War II, which is when this happened,
Yes.
the 1940 to 1941 winter was a really bad winter for the community that lived there, for the 150 people who were kind of nomadic.
150. So
Yeah.
they're all in tents and igloos.
Igloos in the winter, tents in the summer.
Okay.
But apparently it was a really bad winter for them to like stock up on food and everything. So they were facing starvation at the time
Oh, that sucks.
because it was still incredibly remote.
Right.
What happened was a telegram arrived at the RCMP headquarters in Ottawa. Basically, it was a desperate message from somebody called Ernest Riddell, who managed the Hudson Bay Company outpost near the Belcher Islands,
Okay.
or on the Belcher Islands. A really remote kind of...
The Hudson Bay Company was such a cool company back in the day. It was so neat. You could get anything you wanted delivered to
Oh, you're talking about the store?
the company, Hudson Bay Company.
When you were a kid, or...
No, like for like
Remember
the
we did
past
a-
100 years.
Remember we did a whole episode about how they trashed the indigenous people and culture? We released it on cassette.
That was a while ago. I don't really remember the details about that. All right, I guess they weren't
And
that
the
cool.
horrible things that they
The
did.
horrible things. Okay, well, I'll take it back then. All right. In concept, it was neat because you could get whatever the fuck you wanted from across Canada in like
Guns,
the early 1900s.
fur.
Housing materials. You could build your own house, like it's literally delivered. But apparently, they're also assholes. So there you go.
So the RCMP got a telegram from the outpost there. However, most of the Mounties who got the telegram couldn't even tell you on the map where the Belcher Islands were. It was totally...
Right.
They were like, well, we got this telegram. However, the telegram said, 3 murders committed during an outbreak of religious fanaticism. Advise immediate investigation to prevent further outbreaks.
I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going to like, please send food.
No. Religious fanaticism and 3 murders. Please come soon.
Holy shit.
So what happened was...
Who sent it?
A guy called Ernest Riddell from the Hudson Bay Company outpost on the Belcher Islands basically was like, get the fuck up here now. Something crazy is happening.
Okay.
You follow? Any
So he's from the Hudson Bay
company
outpost.
on the outpost on the
and
island.
he heard about it somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's getting letting the RCMP.
Not on the island. He wasn't on the islands.
He was on the islands, yeah.
No, but the outpost was on the island?
Yeah. The
But
only
ho-
kind of like Western influence on the island was the Hudson Bay because they would get seal furs from the seal skin from the people who lived on the island,
And then he'd trade with them, I guess.
trade with them and give them guns and tobacco.
Wow. Fucking cool.
So, so what happened was that it was a really brutal winter. The people on the island were starving, and on the southern end of the island, they were huddled together in like ice houses, worried that it was going to be the end of the world. And everyone was getting desperate. You can imagine if you kind of live in an isolated place and there's no food anywhere,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
going to start getting a little bit desperate and wondering what the hell's going on.
Right.
But what did happen was kind of crazy. They started to believe that God was going to save them, like Jesus was going to save them.
There we go.
So here we go. So what happened was there was a meteor shower. And a 27-year-old Inuk called Charlie saw the meteor shower at this time of desperation and announced he was Jesus because he saw it.
Oh my God.
And
That
the
he himself was Jesus.
He was Jesus. And
He
the
was-
community's best hunter, a guy named Peter, was God.
Okay. This is interesting.
And
Is
this
this due to like malnutrition? Like,
I don't know, but everyone was in like a pretty.
because like at the same time, those two things happening at the same time, that's a little weird. That's coincidental. That's not coincidental. That's two.
Well, the meteor
two
shower.
The meteor shower and two people claiming to be God and Jesus, and both are like, "Yep, that sounds good to me." Like that's too coincidental. That's so weird. There's got to be like something else going on here.
Well,
Food poisoning, like you know what I mean. Like
interesting though. So a lot of it, fundamentally, they were so isolated from Western community. The only incidences where they'd interacted were because, hey, have a gun. Oh my God, this is so much easier to hunt with.
Right.
Have some medicine. Oh my God, this infection's gone.
Have some LSD.
Have some LSD. I can smell colors. So what happened was their interaction with Western culture was largely like, oh my God, whatever this thing is, it improves our lives. So apparently they'd found a Bible and they believed that maybe the answers to salvation from or being saved from starvation came from the Bible. And apparently the Bible had been translated into their language. So they were able to kind of grab passages from it. So because they had this general belief that Western technology would have made their lives easier, the theory is that they were desperate, so they looked into this book for some answers.
I mean, that's interesting. How
I don't think it's not a logical process.
No, I mean that's interesting. That like that's, I'd say that would be a logical. As far as like getting to the conclusions that they had, that would make, I don't know, but like them calling themselves Jesus and God, though, that's a little. I don't know how many people read the Bible and then suddenly thought they were themselves were Jesus. Like,
I don't know. I don't know either. But apparently, he believed that he could start speaking to seals, and the walruses would like listen to his words and this kind of thing. It was very, yeah. So,
so it was translated into, I don't know what language.
The language was. Oh, where was it?
What is the language of the Inuit? I think I knew that at one point.
I can't find. I did have it written down, but anyway, it was translated so into a language that was the language they spoke. So 43 people were camped with him, and they started to accept.
Amazing.
And kind of buy into this idea, because when you're freezing to death and starving,
sure,
everybody needs a project. And they all saw the shoot.
Fun little weekend project.
Yeah, and they all saw the shooting star too, so they believed that like Jesus is coming to rescue us. Maybe he's him. Let's roll with
this.
It.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
So do you think I'm wondering if they're starving at this point?
Yes,
starving. The whole community is starving,
or like living off ration food. Not getting by very well.
I've never really studied into this because why would I? But I'm wondering what physiological symptoms that would have on a body, including the mind. You know what I mean? Like, do you?
Yeah.
That has to play a factor.
It's definitely played a bit into it, because especially in such a isolated, barren place.
Yeah,
where your options are so limited.
This is amazing.
So apparently, Peter, the guy who believed he was God, not because one was Jesus, one was God, said that he believed they had halos. And hysteria started to take over them. So they shot their sled dogs, and then they broke the rifle and threw it in the snow because that was what the new order needed.
Hold on, what? Why did they shoot the dogs? To eat them?
I don't know, but it didn't make any sense.
They shot the dogs and then threw away the guns.
But they needed the guns to hunt and the dogs to get places. So these were decisions that were not logical.
Oh, wow. Something's happening.
So somebody has decided to speak out to what was going on in the community. So a 15-year-old girl called Sarah, whose brother Alec had become one of the most fervent disciples of the new Jesus, at a religious meeting inside a large igloo. A week after he announced he was Christ, she told them they were wrong and that Jesus had not yet come to earth. And Alec, her brother, was so defiant, he grabbed her sister by the hair and hit her across the head with a wooden stick. I heard Alec say...
This is Jesus?
No, this is her brother, Alec, who was a follower of...
Oh, the follower. Okay, a disciple, yeah.
Apparently, one witness said, I heard Alec say he would chop her head off with a knife. Someone lit a stove and held her face near to it to see if she was good or wicked. And then somebody said she was Satan. They knocked her unconscious. And then Koenig, a 17-year-old girl, bludgeoned Sarah's head with the butt of a rifle.
Jesus.
And then she complained her hands were cold from holding the barrel of the rifle, but everyone was pleased. They said, let's be thankful that Satan is gone, because they killed the 15-year-old girl.
They killed her?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So then, like, obviously...
Don't go against the status quo, folks.
A 47...
Just whatever you do not speak up against the status quo.
A 47-year-old guy called Kia Towanak said, this isn't okay, and he confronted them and said, he's got to stop, this is ridiculous. And so they started accusing him of being a devil. And after there was a scuffle, he fled the meeting and retired, retired to his own igloo, he escaped. But he was killed the next morning by Jesus and God.
At this point, I would just play along.
Yeah.
You know, and then say like, hey, I got a message from, I don't know, if one of them was God and one of them was Jesus, I would just say like Mary, you know, something like someone who wasn't there, you know, like, and Mary wants me to go into the nearby town. So I'm going to go get food for everybody. I'll be back. Off I go. Yeah, I'll be back soon. See you, God and Jesus. You know, hallelujah. And then just run the fuck. Just get out of there.
Exactly. What happened was,
as I said, like, I love this. Like, you cannot fight crazy with logic.
No, you just got to be crazier.
You have to be crazier than crazy. Like, that's the only way is to make them question their craziness, is to agree with them and then take it up to 11. Yeah. Just be a little crazier than they are. You know?
Well, I'll be like, well, the real Jesus had gills. If you could stay under the water for 15 minutes, I'll believe you. That's what I would say. Anyway. So, but the three men, this guy who challenged them and ran away to his igloo, what happened was they taunted him from outside, and then they killed him with a harpoon and shot him. So that the killing stopped for 2 weeks, and then this camp joined another larger camp on a different island, and they then started to...
It reminds me, like, I don't know if this actually happened or not, if it's just like fictionalized for movies and whatnot, but like, you know, way back in the day when they wanted them to, they would torture or say like, hey, listen, we'll release you from imprisonment and torture if you just what's the word where you denounce your God, you know, or whatever. And like, why not? And they wouldn't do it. They just, nope, they'd be tortured for days until they were killed. I'm like,
just cross your fingers.
No, but really, like, lie, straight up fucking lie.
We'll say it sarcastically.
And like, do you not, if you believe that, like, do you think your God would not like forgive you for telling a small fib to get the fuck out of there? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
but I do think sarcasm would work. Yeah, I renounce my God. Oh, I hate him. And they'd be like, did you mean that? Being sarcastic.
I wonder if that would work in court, because when, you know, like, if you have to answer everything, but if you just do it with a sarcastic tone.
I'm sure there's some legal theory around sarcasm.
I don't know.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right.
So they joined this other community and some of the community started to kind of fall for the kind of hysteria of the group. And then, but it did not everyone, and there was not everyone wanted to accept his claims, but an argument ensued between two men. And then they were declared a devil, and they started to shoot people in the back.
Oh my God.
And then 3 weeks later, they also apparently some people died from exposure. They took like their clothes off them and made them march outside, and they died in the cold. So in the end, 9 people were killed.
Holy shit!
From a very small community of 150.
Believe in our loving God and Savior Jesus Christ, or we'll kill you.
Exactly.
Fuck.
So
the things done in the name of Christianity is unreal, man. It's just
so. Sala, Peter Sala, who was declared God at the time, was recruited by Ernest Riddell, who sent the telegram to the RCMP. This was before he sent the telegram, but he hired him.
Who hired who? Sorry,
the guy from the Hudson Bay Company.
Ernest Riddell hired
the guy who claimed he was God. Because he needed to guide him on the island. He needed a guide, and this guy was
okay.
He was a local Inuit the best hunter in the community. He knew the land really well.
Okay.
So he hired him, and basically,
This is how Ernest Riddell found out about all this?
yeah, he confided in him about the killings and what happened.
Oh, shit.
So that's when Riddell, who immediately sent a telegram to Winnipeg, which was then forwarded to the RCMP in Ottawa. So what happened then was because World War II was happening, there were no planes or boats spare. Everything was being used in the world.
Oh my God! Effort. Right.
So
I totally forgot this is during World War II.
Every year were the RCMP aircraft, and every RCMP pilot had been transferred to the Air Force. So after weeks of delay, the Mounties managed to find spare parts for an old Norseman aircraft sitting to be ready to be mothballed. So they found a really old, rickety old aircraft.
Okay.
They borrowed a pilot from the Federal Transport Department, and then in April 1941 flew to a place called Moose Factory on the shore of James Bay.
What a weird name. This is Moose Factory?
Moose Factory. I wonder what's there. Maybe like a park or something. I don't know.
This is where we get the moose.
They rendezvoused with a local coroner and 2 RCMP investigators who traveled north from Ottawa by train. 4 days later.
How many RCMP officers?
So 2 RCMP officers.
That's it.
So
they're going into a religious fervor with mass murders, and they're bringing 2 cops.
Yeah, that's all you need, and a winning attitude. So they left Moose Factory
after building themselves a moose.
Yeah, on skis.
Okay.
And they set aside 6 days touring the Belchers by dog sled. They found frozen, bloodied bodies, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together everything that happened. Apparently, they did a really good investigation.
Were people still alive? Was there
Yeah, there was people alive. Only 9 people were killed out of all the people on the island. So people who were alive and saw what happened, who were part of the community, told them what had gone on. I'm sure there were plenty of people willing to talk who didn't get caught up in kind of religious stuff. And even the ones who had done stuff cooperated fully and were honest about what they did.
Oh, wow.
Apparently. So the police left on April the 16th with 3 people. They took 3 people they believed were guilty and then put them in a plane. Apparently the prisoners were shocked because they'd never even seen trees before, let alone flown through the clouds in an aeroplane.
They've never seen trees.
Because there's no trees there and they'd lived there their entire life.
Their whole life.
Yeah.
They've never... Holy shit.
So they got to see trees and they got a plane ride.
That's amazing.
So, and also they couldn't believe that they were going to prison, but they were going to get three meals a day.
They didn't care about the prison. They were...
They were just like, oh my God, 3 warm meals a day. What is this paradise? Go and shit in a bucket. So they decided they were going to put them on trial, but they thought they shouldn't bring everyone south to a courtroom. They should put them on trial in their own community.
Okay. Interesting.
So what happened?
So they brought them back from prison.
So they took them, they imprisoned them in Moose Factory, which was nearby.
Okay.
And they sent a jury and a judge up north to do the actual
at Moose Factory.
Yes.
So did they bring people from the Belcher Islands to Moose Factory?
Yes. The idea was we'll do it up in the north in the community. So apparently, though, everyone was just excited to see new people. So even though they were coming there to try a lot of them, they were like, "Hey,
this is a big party!"
Yeah, they were just got
holy shit, trees!
They had a really warm welcome because they were just excited to see people. So they had a 6-man jury, and some journalists went up from the Toronto Star and everything like that to cover the trial.
So these people have never seen trees. I'm assuming they haven't seen buildings either, or electricity, or anything like this.
Well, and also they needed, there was a boat that had stopped near the Belcher Islands, so they grabbed some of the people who were geological prospectors to be on the jury because they couldn't find enough people. They're like, hey, what are you doing on that boat? I'm doing a geological survey. No, you're not. Jury duty. So,
okie dokie.
Didn't expect this going thousands of kilometers into the wilderness. Jury duty wasn't on my bingo card. So the RCMP built a giant tent, and they put a picture of the royal family up and a Union Jack in there to show that it was a court. which makes no like. I love the fact that they packed that just to make sure.
Right.
They had so they were all there ready to go. They had sealskin mats on the floor, and there was also an influenza outbreak at the time, so everyone was coughing and sneezing, and the flu had been spread from the prisoners who'd returned home from imprisonment at Moose Factory.
Did you say the flu had been spread?
Yeah, they brought it from prison with them.
Oh,
and the people on the island hadn't had flu before.
Oh, fuck.
So one woman died.
Oh, that
because
sucks.
of it. So 7 were accused.
How did the trial go?
So 7 were accused. They were charged with murder. So
Did the guys who were Jesus and God, did they ever do specific murders, or did they get everybody else to murder for them?
well, the 7 people, it was kind of like they were tried together, if you know what I mean, because
Okay.
it was a kind of a group
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So Mina, the one who killed the first girl, she also 6 people who perished on the sea ice. So they stripped their clothes off and they kind of went and died of exposure.
Oh yeah. Right.
She was
horrible.
diagnosed as insane before the trial, and she was brought to the courtroom on a stretcher, hollering and sobbing. She'd been strapped down, so she was declared insane. So she didn't run for trial. Alec, the brother of who started claiming his sister was Satan, he was found not guilty for murder, but was found guilty of temporary insanity. And then everybody else people were found guilty for manslaughter, and Salah, the people who believed they were Jesus and God, faced 2 years in prison, and
Wow.
another one faced
For
1
what?
year in prison.
For 2 years is not for murder. Like, what did they get charged for?
I think it was manslaughter, but also
2 years is really low for manslaughter as well.
and 2, Mina and Alenik were ordered in.
And also, like, this is you have to remember, like, this is they're practically being it's the opposite of punishment. It's
3 hot meals a day.
honestly,
Yeah.
like, away from the cold, in a nice warm room, 3 hot meals a day, books to read. You know, like, this is fucking paradise for them.
All the innocent people and victims and family of the victims have to starve on Belcher's Island.
How weird. This is like this. We're not even making fun. Like, this is exactly what happened.
Exactly. So the people declared insane were ordered into indefinite custody. And the 5 people who were found guilty they were being tried on the Belcher Islands. The people who were guilty
Moose Factory.
were taken back to Moose Factory.
So this trial happened on Belcher Island?
Yes.
There's no building on Belcher Island. I guess there's the community, the outpost, the Hudson Bay outpost.
Yeah.
Is that where it took place?
No. It took. Well, it must have taken near there, but it was somewhere on the island. It didn't
Was there a
say exactly.
building? Like,
No, they built a tent. Remember, I said they RCMP brought a tent with a picture of the Queen
Oh, this all took place in a tent.
in a big tent.
Okay, that's funny.
One of the people was allowed. One of the people convicted were allowed to stay on the island because they were such a skilled hunter. They were required to provide a year-round supply of meat for the families of the exiled men because they were losing the primary hunter in the family. One of them was allowed to stay because they were like, this is a death sentence.
This is
for their
amazing.
family.
Right. This is incredible.
And so they lived in the guard at Moose Factory for a year in the end. One of them died from TB. And the people who were insane returned back to normal and released from custody. And they never returned back to the original community. They apparently lived a wandering life, hunting and camping along the shores of the Hudson Bay under the occasional watch of the RCMP officers. They were exiled from their community for life, pretty much.
The people who were
The ones who
in the
kind of-
7.
Yeah. And the one who claimed he was God regretted his role, apparently.
After being 2 years in prison.
Yeah. He kind of was like, yep, it was he believed he should have prevented people from committing crimes as a community leader rather than being part of it. He kind of had that kind of sense. Apparently, when he was an old man, he eventually returned to the Belcher Islands, where he lived out his final days, a shunned figure in the village he grew up in.
Wow.
And yeah, so today 700 people live there,
No fucking way.
and there's kind of like
I can't find any evidence of this on Google Maps whatsoever.
there's a quiet shame of like this kind of like.
Is there any buildings there? Is there like?
I don't know.
I
imagine there's probably some buildings, but it's kind of an insane story.
That's insane. It was amazing. I'm so glad we rebranded.
Nothing to do with politics.
Nothing. It's amazing.
Do you want to do a quiz?
A little admin and then let's do a quiz.
Okay. Premium episodes. Go do it. CanadianPoliticsIsBoring.com or patreon.com/Canadian Politics is Boring.
If you want,
we've got Apple Premium.
Apple Premium is the easiest way to do it. You just click a button and you can subscribe for like, what is it, $5? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
$5 Canadian? About that? Is there? I don't even know. And there's something like 50-ish premium episodes if you want more of this amazing and like crazy episodes. Some of the best episodes we've done are behind the paywall. If you want to chat with us, you can do it on Patreon.
Yeah,
we've got little chats there. You can give us suggestions for what shows to do and stuff like that, or what photos to take of wherever we are. It's a lot of fun. Thanks to all of our patrons who do support us. We really appreciate it. Allows us to do some crazy stunts like getting people to tattoo their bodies with our logo.
Just for us to rebrand a year later.
He's got another leg. I have to time it when I
ready? Spin the wheel.
Here we go. Yay! Quiz time.
How many people lived on the island in 1941?
I don't have an exact number, but can I get like an estimate, like a close to enough? I think it was 50. No?
150.
Shit. Okay.
Okay. What was the name of the man?
I'm bad with names. You know this. Oh, wait. No.
Operating the Hudson Bay Company outpost.
I'm bad with names. It's like Edward Shears or something like that. No.
Is that your final answer?
Sure. Yeah, I figured.
Ernest Riddell.
That's it. Bad with names.
In the temporary prison tent, the temporary courtroom tent they built.
Yeah.
What did they have a picture of?
Oh, it was like the Queen or something.
Wrong button, hang on. There we go.
It was like the Queen, or like there's a visit of like a, I don't know, some kind of like British royalty symbol. I forget what it was called. No?
I'll give it to you. It was a picture of the royal family.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
The Queen themselves, yeah.
The Queen and Co. No, it would have been the King. It would be the King.
King and Co. Yeah.
King and Co. There we go. So yeah.
1 out of 3. 1 out of 3
is not
great.
Bad. It's not bad. Yeah, anyway. So
bad.
bit of advice for people listening. Don't observe a shooting star and then believe you're Jesus and your best friend's God.
Yeah.
And don't murder your neighbors with a harpoon gun.
It's good advice for all, really. Yeah.
I used to go snorkeling with a harpoon gun. I used to hunt,
Are you
place.
fucking serious?
Flatfish place.
What's flatfish? I mean, I can
They
make a fucking assumption what it
They
is.
swim across. They bury themselves in the sand and they swim across the bottom. They're quite tasty. Me and my friends used to go snorkeling off the coast of Cornwall, and you could just with a harpoon gun, just like a little.
Sounds so fucking cool, man.
You could just shoot, and it would go straight through the fish. You take it home, put it on the barbecue.
That's amazing.
And then we'd catch mackerel as well. You would just troll mackerel off his little rubber dinghy.
I love mackerel. Mackerel's so goddamn
cooking
tasty.
Mackerel on a barbecue. Those are the days.
Man, that sounds amazing.
The sea is a bountiful gift of meats.
Thanks for that, Reese.
The sea giver.
And the sea taketh away.
But you should never kill someone with a harpoon gun. It's just
what an immensely insane story this was. This was like, and the fact that it took place during World War II is like.
I know, but people had bigger fish to fry at the time, so they weren't really paying attention
to eating fish again. This is. You're really kind of hungry.
Do you know what I'm gonna have for supper? Chicken. No, but I think that's the thing. It's like World War II was going on at the time, so this kind of like weird cult massacre was totally overlooked.
I'm kind of blown away. So like being part of the film industry in Canada, I can say that it really, really helps a lot when applying for funding if the stories that you want to tell are inherently Canadian.
Yeah.
Right? Or or has to do with identity being like your identity as a Canadian, or just something to do with Canada, it really helps. It's not necessary, but boy, does it help in getting funding. I have learned so many insane stories just from our podcast, from you. And I'm like, why have people not tried to make shows or movies about any of these fucking things? It's mind-blowing.
You could easily do an insane like Netflix style show about any of that. Just
honest to God, right? Like it's
you don't need to write it. It's just there. You do need to write it.
You need to write it, but like
you need to make it up.
Yeah, no, like it's so insane, you know. So maybe that's what I'll be doing. You know,
it'd be fun. You'll have a good time.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, so
that was really fun. That was great. I'm really enjoying the show. I don't know if other people are enjoying the new rebranded show. I don't fucking
send
know.
us an email. Leave us.
Nobody
a review.
does, but keep asking for speak pipes, and nobody does. It's rare. It happens.
Speakpipe.com/Canadian politics is boring. Are you having as much fun as Jesse? More fun? Less fun? The same amount of fun? Have you ever killed someone with a harpoon gun? Let us know.
No, I just...
What? Worst case scenario, they have killed someone and we have a confession we can give to the police.
Yeah, all right.
Most people will say no, and that's good.
If we get a bunch of speak pipes with people saying that they haven't killed people with a harpoon gun,
I'll be happy.
I'll be pretty happy with that.
It's good to know that that's not going on the streets of Canada. So, bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
A place that's exciting with